Adaru, I'm here to tell you an introduction into a magical world. There is a magical world where there are knights and kings and queens, jesters and peasants and people who are determined to take back their world, to take back what has been stolen from them. In this world, people disappear, people are killed, but it wasn't always this way. I am going to tell you the story of Adaru. I'm going to tell you how things came to be the way they are. Years and years ago, a wonderful king and queen ruled the land of Adaru in peace and harmony. King Daniel Chaucer and his loving wife, Queen Elizabeth, were beloved by all and ruled for years in happiness. Around 1504, they were blessed with a beautiful daughter named Juliet Elizabeth. And in 1506, they finally received their crown prince in Julian Francis. In a nearby kingdom named Terraquil, in 1507, they finally got their first crown prince as well, named Francois Antonin Devereux. And the following year, his sister, Catalina Emily, was born. Around 1520, the king and queens of these neighbouring nations, Terraquil and Adaru, decided that they wanted to join in a union, and the easiest way to do that was by marriage. They brokered a marriage between Julian of Adaru and Catalina of Terraquil, and also their son Francois to the Lady Vivian. In 1523, Catalina travelled to Adaru, and Francois and Vivian wed. Also, there was whisperings of a boy being born, who showed immediate promise with magic. In 1524, Julian and Catalina finally married, and a young boy was born named Ronan Darby. In 1525, Catalina realised, bored with palace life, that she could easily manipulate Julian to do what she wanted, whatever she wanted. And Francois Antonin II was born to the Crown Prince of Terraquil. In 1526, Julian and Catalina got a daughter of their own, named Amelia Marie, and in the faraway kingdom of Boumadria, the king and queen there received a crown prince of their own as well, in Kava Arsham Hami Bijan. In 1527, a tragedy happened when King Daniel and Queen Elizabeth were killed in a tragic carriage robbery, leaving Julian and Catalina to be crowned the king and queen of Adaru. Catalina began to exert her power immediately in 1528. Taxes were increased tenfold on the people, civil liberties began to be stripped away, and land and homes were taken for the crown's ownership. In the faraway land of Boumadria, the king and queen there welcomed another son, Payam Asham Hami Bijan. In 1529, the now king and queen of Adaru welcomed a second daughter to their family, Victoria. And in 1530, the power of the lords and knights of Adaru was diminished. The country was very rapidly headed towards a dictatorship, with Catalina at its head, unbeknownst to the entire country. And in Terraquil, the crown prince welcomed a daughter of his own, Josette Amia. In 1531, the king and queen of Adaru finally got their hopes answered when their own crown prince was born, Louis. A few years passed before Catalina reared her head again. She wanted more land. She wanted her own wealth and power to increase, and it took them the better part of 4 years before the poor country of Boumadria was invaded. The war was harsh, and many people were killed needlessly. It took 2 years before the war officially ended, with the public execution of King Asham and Queen Jala. In 1541, the rest of Bumadrya finally surrendered, and the country was officially disbanded and absorbed by Adaru. Citizens were deported, tortured, and enslaved or killed. Catalina finally absorbed the wealth of Bumadrya into Adaru's own monetary piles, as the last of the people was subdued, and Ronan Darby was commissioned to make a sword to commemorate the event. What no one realised at the time was what the ramifications of bringing the boar to court would be. In 1543, Amelia, unbeknownst to everyone, had fallen in love with the swordmaker and eloped with Ronan. Josette of Terraquil and Louis were engaged to be married, to bind Adaru and Terraquil even tighter together, and Lord Derek McIntyre petitioned the King and Queen for the hand of their daughter, Princess Victoria. In 1544, Amelia was officially banished, and her title of princess was stripped, and Victoria and Derek were formally betrothed. Which brings us to present day, 1545. The country is in unrest, and no one knows quite exactly what's going to happen next. The only thing that we do know for sure is that the Princess Victoria's birthday is coming up shortly, and she is to be formally presented and her engagement officially announced. So there is no wonder why there is unrest in Adaru, now that you know the story. So now you know. The only question that remains left is, what role are you going to play? There's rumours of a resistance rising. No one knows for sure who heads it or what they want. All we know is that Adaru is coming soon. The journey begins.